Alright guys, so I was sitting around the house and realized that I have a couple of videos on the Bonafide kayak. I've got one when I very first bought it, and then I remember when I was putting in a ramp, you know, floating the Holston, that I did a video on, you know, the actual kayak setup. But I've never really walked through the kayak and showed you guys how I set it up for fishing tournaments. So that's something that I kind of wanted to do. I feel like I've fished enough tournaments now that I've got this thing kind of set up and figured out ways to, you know, to place my net, to put my hog trough, to have my rods placed in the floor with different lures on them to help me fish more accurate and a little bit faster in these tournaments, guys. So I just want to go over it a little bit real quickly, you know, just a quick little video, and show you guys how I have the Bonafide SS127 set up for tournament fishing that suits me. So guys, I pretty much want to go through this step by step, how, you know, if I was getting ready to take off at the ramp to start a tournament, say, you know, a 10-cat tournament, you know, state championship or something like that. So pretty much what I do is grab my rods, I put all my rods in my rod holders. I've got 7 rod holders on this black pack. I usually use 5 for my rods. And right here, the camera that I've got in my hand right now, guys, the GoPro Hero 7 is what I put right here. And a lot of y'all who watch the channel, you'll see that camera is looking over my shoulder pretty much, so you can see everything that's going on the entire time I'm fishing. I'll put that net right here in the front. That way, when I'm in this seat and I'm catching fish on that river, the lake, or wherever I'm at, I can reach, you know, just kind of reach right behind me, grab that net that fish. And what I do with that net is I'll take it, I'll get that fish off the line, and I'll put it on these fish grips right here. Stick it in the net. And I've already done a video where I kind of showed you all what I do and how I do this. It will definitely help you guys from losing fish. I've put fish in this net before and had those fish jump out of that net. It don't happen very often, but I have had it happen. So it definitely just gives me a little bit more security sticking that fish on these fish grips and sticking it in that net. Another thing is, guys, I'll leave that net there when I'm putting that fish on the board. Say I'm sitting in the seat, I'll put my foot and bump this board right up against my foot and have my leg kind of up blocking, just in case that fish was to, you know, go crazy and start flipping and flopping or whatever. And I'll leave that net right here. That way, if that fish was to get past my foot or my leg, it'll go in that net. And my buddy Eric over at KASTKING is a perfect example. Fishing for soldiers this weekend, he had like a 16-inch largemouth jump off the board and slip right into the water. I had it happen before too, several times. So I always keep that net right there beside me, right when I'm putting that fish on that catch board. So, you know, say guys, I just got done putting that fish on the board. I'll take this catch board and I'll stick it right here beside the seat, just like that, boom. And I'll take this little strap and I wrap it around the seat, just like that right there, guys. And that thing does not go nowhere. It's little things like this that you figure out as you're fishing that helps you out when you're fishing these tournaments. That strap right there wraps right around that little plastic piece, and it keeps that catch board from sliding off or into the water. And I also got a leash on that catch board, because obviously these things will not float, guys. That thing will sink completely to the bottom. We've got the kayak cushion, guys. That thing right there is amazing. I actually just got that from fishing for soldiers this past weekend. So finally got me a kayak cushion. I'm super excited about that. I've been wanting one for a long time, and I finally got one. This thing is amazing. So the junk drawer, guys, this right here, boom. Keep tons of stuff in this thing. I keep like extra batteries and stuff for my cameras in there. Keep all of my soft plastics in there. And then, like I said, guys, this is the junk drawer. Keep a pair of wire cutters to cut my, you know, lines so when I'm switching lures. So like I said, this is kind of a walkthrough of the kayak, but it's also how I fish it for a tournament. With that said, whatever I'm throwing on the river, or on the lake or when I'm in a tournament, I will keep right here in this junk drawer. So if I'm on, you know, floating the Holston River and I'm throwing a, you know, a little swim bait, I will keep those swim baits right here under my seat. I don't want to be trying to turn around grabbing a bunch of different stuff. I keep it right here where it's convenient, right underneath my seat, where I can grab these paddle tails, you know, where I can, you know, put a new trailer on my spinner bait, you know, or, you know, if I'm fishing the lake and I'm throwing a wacky rig, I want to keep those right here underneath me. My pliers right there underneath me, guys. And then extra lures that I may switch out to, you know, if I'm fishing, and like I said, I usually keep 4 rods laying on the deck of my kayak. You know, those rods, the back of the rods slide right here in this tray, and they come up and they lay right here in these little grooves on the front of this kayak. So you know, when I'm fishing, especially a tournament, I want to have different things tied on at all times, so I'm not, you know, retying or this and that. I can just make casts. So I usually got about 8 rods with me when I'm fishing a tournament. And then I'll keep like right here, it's a perfect example. Got a chatterbait, got a spinnerbait, got a frog, and then we've got, like, you know, a fluke and a bunch of other stuff. And we also put our beer caps in there as well when we're not fishing tournaments and we're just, you know, floating down the river, maxing and relaxing, drinking a couple cold beers. So like I said earlier, we got the black pack. We keep all of our, you know, we've got our little jointed swim baits. We've got our terminal tackle. We've got all of our crankbaits separated by color. So we've got like all of our red and, you know, brown crawl colored stuff. We've got all of our jigs in one box. We've got all of our white chartreuse stuff in this one. And then we got a top water box, guys. And this right here is pretty much all I own fishing wise, guys. I fish out of a kayak 90% of the time, so I pretty much got everything narrowed down to right here in this kayak. And of course, guys, we got the anchor wizard, which I absolutely love. One thing I do recommend, guys, buy an anchor that does not catch on the river. I zip tied it. I make sure this thing does not open up. That way I do not get stuck on the river. So pretty much I drag that thing the entire time. Of course, you need the life jacket, guys. We keep a life jacket. Always have your life jacket on while you're fishing, just to be safe. Depth finder, guys. I've got the Humminbird Helix 5. It's got down imaging, side imaging. Bought it from a buddy of mine for 160 bucks. And like I said, I'm not an expert with electronics. Now honestly, I can't fish without it. I'm so used to having it on the front of the kayak. I've got to have it to be able to tell the depth and stuff like that. And we always keep a Sharpie. We always keep a Sharpie inside this. That way we can write down our identifier. But a lot of times though, when I do take a picture, I've noticed that I'll get a glare from the sun off this thing. So a lot of times I'll write that on my hand as well. And some tournaments don't allow that, but a lot of them, to me, it's a little bit easier just to write it on my hand, because usually my hand's on that fish anyways to keep that thing still, and I can snap that picture and have that identifier in that picture. So the Humminbird, guys, is ran off just a little bitty 12-volt battery. I got it at Walmart out of the hunting section. I can get about 2 full days of operation out of this fish finder on that battery. So yeah, as I said, guys, that's pretty much how I keep the Bonafide rigged up for tournament fishing. I hope that kind of sort of maybe helps some of you guys that fish tournaments. Like I said, that's just how I do things. I'm sure other guys do it differently, that have been maybe a little more experienced, has been doing it longer, but that right there is what works for me, guys. And that's how, you know, that's how we fish these tournaments, guys. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one.